Which one of these three foods, the egg, the apple, or the loaf of bread, is the best source of protein? If you guessed the egg, then you're correct. We know that the egg has the most protein because an egg is an animal-based food. All animals, whether they live in the sea or on land, contain protein in their muscles and tissues. So when they are consumed in your diet, the proteins in these foods are transferred to you. The loaf of bread is a plant-based food. The grains within the bread contain some protein, but the protein is of lower quality than that of the egg. The apple is also a plant-based food. It contains a bit of protein, but it's found in such small amounts that an apple, like most pieces of fruit, would not be considered an ideal source of protein. In this lesson, we'll take a look at which foods you can select to get your daily recommended intake of protein. So we see that protein can be found in both animal and plant-based foods. Animal products include meat, poultry, eggs, seafood, and milk or items made from milk, like cheese and yogurt. Plant foods that contain protein include beans, nuts, seeds, grains, and soy products. Most people living in the United States are able to take in adequate amounts of protein on a daily basis, thanks to the wide variety of protein-containing foods available. However, some of these protein foods, especially those that come from animal sources, are high in saturated fats. High consumption of these fatty foods has been linked to cardiovascular disease. Therefore, it's recommended that an individual chooses protein sources that are naturally lower in fat or that contain healthier fats, such as monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats. In other words, eat out at the seafood restaurant more often than the steakhouse, where fatty meats are likely to be served. And if you feel like a snack, choose nuts and seeds for the protein and healthy fats they contain. If you're not fond of animal-based foods or prefer to eat a vegetarian diet, then beans and peas are good foods to help you meet your protein needs. It's easy to serve black beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, lima beans, split peas, or lentils as a side dish or work them into a soup or salad. These plant-based sources of protein also provide your body with fiber, which is not found in animal-based foods. Now you have an idea of which food sources contain protein, but you might be wondering how much protein you need. The United States government has established guidelines to help you plan a healthy diet and avoid disease. The Acceptable Macronutrient Distribution Range, or AMDR, shares the recommended calorie ranges for carbohydrates, fats, and proteins that you need. If you're a healthy adult, the AMDR for protein is 10 to 35% of your daily calorie intake. So if you ate a diet of 2,000 calories a day, then you would want between 200 to 700 calories to come from protein. The government also encourages individuals to meet the Recommended Dietary Allowance, or RDA, of protein. The RDA is the average dietary intake level that you need to meet your nutritional needs. As a general guideline, the RDA for protein for adults is 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. So if you weigh 70 kilograms, which is about 154 pounds, then it's recommended that you take in 56 grams of protein each day. To give you an idea of how to meet these recommendations, consider this meal that contains a cup of milk, a 3-ounce piece of beef, and a cup of black beans. The milk contains 8 grams of protein, the meat contains 22 grams, and the beans provide an additional 15 grams. Eat this meal for dinner, and you will provide your body with 45 grams of protein. Let's review. Animal-based foods such as meat, poultry, eggs, seafood, and milk or milk products tend to be good sources of protein because all animals contain protein in their muscles and tissues. These proteins are transferred to you when you consume these foods. Plant-based foods such as beans, nuts, seeds, grains, and soy products also contain protein, but these sources often provide lower quality or lower amounts of protein than animal sources. Some animal-based foods may contain high amounts of saturated fats, which could increase an individual's risk of cardiovascular disease. So your diet should include protein sources that are naturally lower in fat or that contain healthier fats, such as seafood, nuts, seeds, beans, and peas. The U.S. government has established guidelines to help you meet your daily protein needs. The Acceptable Macronutrient Distribution Range, or AMDR, which is the recommended calorie ranges for carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, states that 10 to 35% of your daily calorie intake should come from protein. The Recommended Dietary Allowance, or RDA, which is the average dietary intake level that you need to meet your nutritional needs, states that an individual should consume 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight.